So let's start with attention. Essentially, before a consumer buys something, they need to know that it exists. How can you buy a product if you don't know what it is or where to get it? Okay, but is that really enough? Like I said, with our ads, we know so many products exist. We see them on our social media feeds all the time. We see them on commercials, on before YouTube videos. But is that enough for us to buy? No, it's not. But it is still important for us to capture our consumers' attention and at least make them aware that we exist, that our product exists. For example, here is a product. You know it exists now, but do you want it? You don't even know what it is probably. Unless you've seen it before. It was a Kickstarter home gym essentially. So you could open that up and there's a whole bunch of stuff inside that you can work out with at home. Right? But even though you know that now, just because you know what it is, do you want it? Not necessarily. Did this capture your attention? Like if you're scrolling through this on your feed, would you stop to look at it? Maybe. Maybe just to figure out what it was? Possibly, right? Okay, but we have to remember that marketing must not just catch our attention, but it has to hold our attention. How about this one? Does this capture your attention more? Probably at least a little bit. I know it captured my attention when I looked at it. Why? Well, for me, the design was unique. You never really see a bike like that, right? It made me want to know more of what it is. And of course, another way to really capture attention is through the use of humor. We all love it, right? Here is the Duolingo owl who is just known to be a savage. And here is what I thought was a hilarious ad that popped up for me. Learning a language is you-know-what hard, so we made it you-know-what fun. And I never really saw an ad kind of like that before, but it's this whole brand around Duolingo and its owl. The owl will send you notifications and emails telling you to get back to work and learn your language. So I just thought that was a really cool ad that fit their brand, and it was funny. But all of these things we were talking about have been online so far. So what about in person? How do we capture people's attention in person? Well, here's a great example, the wacky inflatable arm men, right? Anything you can do to capture the people's eye that are, driving by, walking by, so that they notice your business, or maybe once they're in their store, anything visual to bring their attention to specific products. So here's an example, Colgate. They made a tank out of their Colgate boxes there. I don't know what the Smurf is doing on top, but that's a pretty cool in-store display, and there's other cool displays, other ways to promote things within stores as well. Okay. One thing I want to mention before we move on to any of the other AIDA steps is that we need to integrate AIDA. It's not always just one after the other after the other. Sometimes they all happen together. And in going with these in-store displays, this is a good example of integrating all of AIDA together. And it's those in-store displays in electronic stores, video game stores, where you can actually play some of the video games in the store. So this is a great way to capture attention. Like the TV's on, everything's ready to go, or maybe you see other people playing and then you want to play, but then it generates your interest and desire for that game. So we should integrate all these steps.